Hello, hello, and welcome to series number 2 on the Tokibi channel. So we're going to be going into BoomerGaming versus Durotan's Couch. We should be getting into draft shortly. We were just kind of waiting for the lobby to be created for quite a bit of time, as we are already, in fact, in draft. So I'm going to talk about both of these teams kind of while we're getting set up for this draft. And this should be a pretty banger of a game today. So BoomerGaming, second place in Nexus Division, actually tied in first. And Durotan's Couch is tied in 5th place. There's only 7 maps separating the two of them. So this should be a very close game, very competitive. For those new to the scene, Nexus League is the second highest league you can have. These are all high diamond, master, grandmaster tier players. So we're going to see some high skill, high octane gameplay coming in shortly. I wasn't able to catch the map bans, but map number 1, we are going to be going to Garden of Terror. And BoomerGaming, banning away the Dahaka. Like I always say, on a big map like Garden, it's always a standard ban. In a way, it even is kind of a must ban. You can play into the Dahaka, but it does get very difficult the longer you play. And as the game goes on, it gets very difficult to deal with that constant side lane shove, unless you also have some kind of global of your own to counteract it, such as the Falstad or even the Brightwing to some extent. They're not quite able to do it to the same effect. The Brightwing you normally pick just to help support your offlaner rather than get the waves shoved out. As we do see more bans coming in, Diablo banned away from the side of Durotan's Couch. I'm very curious where that name came from. I'll stop getting distracted, but the Tracer and the Garrosh also banned out. Now, Tracer isn't a pick I've had the pleasure of casting quite yet. It is a character I do want to cast later on, as it is a very fun carry to watch. And I am a little bit surprised about the Garrosh ban over the Joanna. Joanna, very solid tank. Has pretty instant engage with the shield toss. The blind is able to take away a lot of the auto attack damage from most right attack carries, such as the Vala. The Vala will still be able to bring out a ton of damage, regardless of what build she does end up going. And then Hogger, probably going to be sending that into the offlane, unless they're doing something weird with double bruiser comp or something like that. So overall, pretty standard picks so far. Nothing's really standing out as an absolutely crazy selection. Rhaegar, solid healer. And then they're going to have the final pick here with the Junkrat. So Junkrat was left open. And Junkrat's very good at being able to stop enemy team from collecting the seeds. And he's able to delay for a very long time. So if there's a situation where they want to get the side lane shoving away, if they want to get couch the waves when they're falling behind, Junkrat is able to kind of prolong the game, prolong the play. And also naturally, very safe pick, lots of DPS coming out from Junkrat. As the Lost Vikings get banned out. Not sure who does play that on the side of BoomerGaming. But it is a pick I'm usually pretty excited to see. Back when I did play, granted I only ever played in the, I don't remember if I was Div C or Div B. We were either high Div B or high Div C or low Div B. It was years ago. Our offlaner played a lot of Vikings whenever we could, and it was a ton of fun watching those 3 little guys run around, wreaking havoc. And then the Lucio ban, once again, standard healer. There's still a bunch of good healers left available. There's Anduin, there's Stukov. Brightwing's available as well, like I mentioned earlier. And they are going to go with the Varian Anduin. So whenever you see a Varian, unless for some reason he goes Bruiser, but I suspect he will be going the Taunt Varian build, you kind of want to build a blow-up comp around that. So I expect Vala to go either the Hungering Arrow build or the W build. I forget what that name's called. But I suspect with Joanna, Rhaegar, Junkrat, none of them really have summons. There's really not a lot of things that will get in the way of the Hungering Arrow. I expect to see that as the build. And then Sylvanas and Leoric as the final 2 pickups for the side of BoomerGaming. Sylvanas, naturally, always going to be able to absolutely tear through towers. The Black Arrow's very strong, especially on a big map like Garden of Terror. Then just being able to get that extra wave control, she's able to clear waves ridiculously fast. And it gives a second character that's able to run around the map and soak alongside the Leoric. I see the Zeratul as the final pick. Now, Zeratul is really, really fun to watch. Able to deal so much damage, very high skill hero, and just an absolute nuisance to deal with. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Zeratul is played. I've yet to cast either of these 2 teams, so I don't know their styles. I don't know how good individually each of the players are, which ones to look out for. But whenever someone picks Zeratul, you know that's someone to look out for. And we're getting into game number 1 soon, right after this short message. All right, as we get into game number 1. So far, pretty standard setup of both sides. Just telling each other good luck, have fun. Always gotta love seeing that good sportsmanship coming out from both these teams. All 5 members are going mid. No cheese plays coming out. You do sometimes see a little bit of cheese when you have someone like the Sylvanas, who's able to just turn off the cannon towers level 1. Spin for friends. I probably should disable chat, honestly. Just in case. Sometimes tensions run high and players say something they don't mean, which isn't necessarily something terrible to say. But we gotta see these players in the best light, and their best light is when they are playing. So now we are seeing a little bit of changing already. I just fizzed, very great name, is playing off towards the bot side already. Gets there a little bit early, and just like that, we will be able to get the wave shoving out much earlier than the side of BoomerGaming. They are bringing their full team on, but Zeratul is a character that can just jump away at any moment. Not too fussed about it, as the jaws are collected by Captain Wedge. Concussion Mine is off to the side, but not going to walk into it. Wildcard coming in to catch mid, as they do get a lot of damage on a Wildcard. Hogger should be okay. It is level 1 Varian, or level 2 I should say, but up until level 4, the Varian isn't really the threat, isn't really the front line. He will become later on in the game. That first talent is incredibly important to pick up, as both sides are going to be taking their siege tower, or their siege camps, and the bruiser camps over for the side of BoomerGaming. So they are a little bit ahead on their camps for BoomerGaming, at least for the bot side. But Wildcard has started their siege camp earlier. They're going to come try to take it away. Wildcard is going to be just clearing that out. And we're just going to kind of be seeing the default play where both sides are just trying to get all the camps, trying to get as much XP as possible. As the level 4 is hit, Bellers is on top of I Just Fizz. Taken pretty low, still alive. Doesn't seem to have tap available. Captain Wedge is here, but that bruiser camp is starting to get onto the walls, dealing a decent amount of damage. And with Dope Monster and J-Shifts in the backline, we do have the taunt coming out of Dope Monster. It does take a decent amount of HP. And they will be able to zone them away. And will that cannon tower be able to survive? Doesn't seem that way. So a little bit of an XP lead coming over for the side of BoomerGaming. And taking away that camp, or taking away that tower, is also beneficial, because that's going to be one little bit less DPS if they do have a wave shoving in next time. Very small details, but they do end up adding up. And this is the kind of game where those little details do matter. So we do have the first seed spawning right now. Both teams starting to group up for it. But it looks like Durotan's couch, no, they don't have the positioning. They don't have the wave states. They're just going to walk away. Giving away one seed isn't the biggest deal. They can always come back and fight. And when they have better positioning. Is getting jumped on. Captain Wedge coming in from behind. Gets the taunt, gets the root on top of it. Bagatron very low, but Yonners has to run away, and first blood going over to the side of Durotan's couch. A very nice heads-up play, and that's kind of what you want to see, and what you're gonna end up seeing whenever there's a variant in the game. Variant's only job is to jump on top of someone and one-hit them with the help of their team. They were able to get that. Still not a huge XP lead. They're very even overall, as he is poking onto the Bellers. It does end up using the taunt, but not much is gonna happen. It's Joanna. She is very tanky, very happy to tank those taunts as the next seed is spawning. Both sides do have their level 7 talents now, as they are grouping up top towards Wild Card. But Hogger is difficult to take. The blind does come out, but Hog Wild will get him out of safety. And now the fight will begin for the second seed. Wild Card sending out the TNT to check the bush. And this is where you really see the advantage of picking the Junkrat comes in. They don't really want to commit to this. They have their bot side pushing out with I-Feed on the Leoric. So they're just trying to get as much poke, as much DPS down as possible until they can force someone down and now have a 5v4 advantage. So it is 5-on-4, but the seed is slightly positioned in favor for Durotan's couch, this one being on their side of the map. And I-Feed does have to go back down to the bot lane to match I Just Fizzed. I will never get over saying that name, will I? I'm going to have to take a little pause every time I do it. As they are starting to group off towards it. The concussion mine does come out. Taunt onto Bellers, but not a lot of damage. Once again, it's the Joanna. And they are going to start harassing the Joe, trying to get as much DPS as possible, just slowly whittling it down and preventing them from getting close, as Sir Noble does cap the second seed. So it is 1-to-1 in terms of seeds. But because of their map plays, because of I-Feed being able to shove this bot lane early on, they have a half-level advantage. So there will be a brief time period where they will have the heroics over the side of Durotan's couch, as both teams starting to pick up their various camps, mostly towards the 3 siege camps. Bruiser camps will be spawning in a few seconds for BoomerGaming, so I'd be expecting them to go after that. Captain Wedge does get the taunt onto Jace Shifts, but the trap able to keep Wildcard away. Junkrat with proper positioning, with proper trap placement, is very difficult to gank. But if you can get the one gank, if you can get one chain stun, not a lot of HP on that Junkrat. So it may fail 10 times, but as long as that one time succeeds, it's a worthy play for the side of Durotan's. The level 10 advantage didn't end up really going anywhere, as both sides now do have their heroic abilities. They have the Bruiser camp shoving in the bot lane. Siege camps on both sides of the map. But the Bruiser camp will be the stronger camp to push. And I do expect them to try and utilize this pressure to help zone towards the seed. I Just is not really able to clear too much. Does come in with a spin there. Gets a little bit of AoE damage on all of them. Black arrows not being used. Thrown out just now towards the fort. And now they're going to get zoned away. And now with the Bruiser camp dying, I did want to bring up a point. I usually mention this about Val whenever it's picked, but they are going the Cradle Hunter build. So it will be the auto attack talent tree coming in for the Vala. Now they're able to zone away, get the pressure bot side. The seed is still up, as well as all 4 of the little shamblers, as they are called, defending it. And then we got the root on the Captain Wedge. I-Feed gonna throw the dungeon out towards a variant, but Anduin able to pull him away. Bellers tries to run in, misses the shield toss. And Mind Control throws on to Yonders. Yonders going to take a lot of damage. Riptire hits onto 4. No kills, but a lot of damage coming in. I Just Feed. It needs to back away. Hog Wild going to be used to get away to safety. And it does seem that BoomerGaming is going to be able to take this TNT slightly off position. So, second seed going over to the side of BoomerGaming. And Captain was trying to walk in right into Ballers. Tries to pull them all in, slightly out of range. Yonners is able to dodge away from all of these little skittles. And both sides just kind of regrouping. Nothing to fight for right now, so they're going to vie for position. Gonna try and get all those waves shoved out. The next seed is going to be in the top side. Bellers does get rooted. Captain Wedge taking a decent amount of damage. Mind Control lands, but the heal reduction only comes in right after the big heal. Light Bomb thrown on it too, but doesn't really stun anyone. Yawner's very low HP. So is the Varian. The Varian gets killed as well. Sir Noble dying in the background. I Just Fizz very low. Dope Master trying to get on top, but isn't able to. But what Dope Master is able to do is use the black arrows to secure this fort. BoomerGaming getting some really solid map movements. To force up a kill, they get the bot fort, and iFeed is probably going to be able to catch this seed right now. Just need to kill one more Shambler and they're good. But in the meanwhile, the mid wave is being shoved in. Just going to get a lot of poke. Wildcard trying to delay and cancel as long as possible. And the dungeon does get thrown out on a wildcard. Hog Wilds away. Is able to go through walls apparently. But still going to get collapsed on. He uses the shockwave, but Wildcard is 3-on-1, does get killed, and the seed was taken. So now there's going to be a 4-on-5 or 5-on-4 advantage going over for the side of BoomerGaming as the Garden Terrors spawn. Not much to grab in the bot wave. We do see it is reaching the mid wave right now. But it's the top lane, no one here to defend it. It seems that Durotan's couch just is okay giving away this 1/4. They just want to make sure they don't lose anything outside of that. Mid horror is going to end up dying. And the top, I said horror, I meant to say terror, is coming in right now. Getting a decent bit of poke onto their top wall, but not going to continue with it. Wildcard just trying to pull it away. Walks through the trap to defuse it. And in the meanwhile, there is still a fighting going on mid. The black arrows already used onto that mid fort. And the dungeon is thrown onto Yawner's, but they do not feel safe running into that. Riptire going to be used to move Captain Wedge. And he's rooted right in front of him. If the Anduin pull was not there. Whew, Yawner's was in a little bit of a sticky situation there. And the Terror was able to deal a little bit of damage to the bot gate, but that is all that Terror was able to accomplish. As they saw it moving around, the minimap was curious to see just how much damage, and it wasn't a lot. All the camps going to get retaken once again. We see the Siege camp, the Bruiser camp being taken out from the side of BoomerGaming, and the Siege camp being taken out from the side of Durotan's couch. They do have one more camp available on their top side, but not sure if they really need to go for it right away. They may like to utilize this timing where they have their 16s to just hard press down mid. That's exactly what they're going to do. Dope Monster use the black arrows. They're up once again to disable the fort. And just like that, the third fort goes down. A very clean and solid play so far from BoomerGaming. They are really following a pretty standard map protocol. They get their advantages, they push with the black arrows. Once the black arrows are done, they make sure the wave crashes, and then they leave. Dungeon was used by iFeed. What is this actually called? Entomb. I call it something else that's not broadcast appropriate. If anyone's ever curious, feel free to DM me. I'll let you know. But I'm going to have to practice calling it Entomb. Right now I'm just calling it Dungeon to make sure I call it something normal. Now, I Just Fizz gonna come over to the bottom. To clear out this Bruiser camp, it's not a lot of damage onto any of the walls. They do lose this mid cannon tower, but that's really it. And both sides now have their 16s, so this is going to be a fight on even talent. Slightly more stats for the side of BoomerGaming. But the Hawker is pretty behind, trying to clear out through mid, and will be able to join the fight now before the seed is taken. And is getting onto the backline. They do see him, but they're not going for it quite yet. There is the concussion mine, and will be used soon. Gets rid of I Just Fizz. Gonna throw another concussion mine, another set of mines, and the mind control gets hit onto Captain Wedge, and the Entomb does come down onto Yawner's. Yawner's in the middle. He does have the light bomb, but there was no one to hit. Wildcard tries to get the shockwave, and they get 0 back. And he's trying to use the Hog Wall to get away, but not a lot of move speed. He no longer has any cooldowns, and the Hogger is going to go down as well. 3-0 for the side of BoomerGaming. Once again, very nutty team fight. That Entomb was in the perfect spot. They were able to catch out the Vala, and after that, slight panic, slight miscommunication coming out from the side of Durotan's couch. And they were not able to protect any other team members. And they did end up wasting the light bomb just a little bit. And this is going to be a huge lead. They're going to be able to use this pressure to take this mid keep and get even more pressure onto these bot walls. And they might even continue going just to take the bot keep as well. All 5 members will be up soon, so we'll see if they do decide to stay. Black arrows are not up anymore. Captain Wedge trying to run into Dope Monster, doesn't see any angles. And Bellers will just use the blind to demount him. As the Bruiser Camp steal does begin coming out for BoomerGaming. XP lead is starting to get quite massive now. They've held a half a level to a level for most of this game, but they're up on almost 2 level lead now. And with the second seed coming out, this still won't be their third. And they, in fact, may choose to delay it. Wait until they have the level 20s. However, I do think that Durotan's Couch does not need to fight this. I think they can just elect to catch their waves, see if they can get picks and rotations, as you normally do want to try and do on Varian. But I digress. Both sides just kind of playing slow. It does look like BoomerGaming is waiting for the level 20. Perhaps what they're thinking is once you get to level 20, it's a guaranteed seed. As they do try and fight for this camp, and they do steal this siege camp. Very cheeky coming out from BoomerGaming. And now they're going to wipe out the seed. They're going to hit their Storm Talons. And with that, they're going to continue on. And potentially just try and shove out without the final objective. Black Arrow should be back up for Dupe Monsters, so they don't even need to wait for creeps. They can just walk right into this keep, disable it, and just power it down. It doesn't seem like Durotan's Couch even really wants to fight it. They are sending Sir Noble and Captain Wedge, but it seems like they're here more to try and slow it down rather than prevent this. As Joy Shifts comes in, helps get that extra little bit of DPS. All 5 members there. Durotan's Couch wisely decides not to fight that, as a losing fight there will lose them the game, and they do not have level 20, so the odds are never in their favor there. And they're just trying to catch as many waves as possible. They need to get their level 20s ASAP. But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get it in time for the seed spawning, so they're going to have to be able to defend another set of Garden Terrors. And this is the timer for BoomerGaming. BoomerGaming definitely wants to try and finish the game here on this objective take. This is going to be their biggest power spike for the rest of the game, as they will have level 20 talents over Durotan's Couch, and they're going to have the 3 bosses kind of pushing in through each lane. Joy Shifts coming in, trying to get some DPS onto the core, and they're not even going to bother going for the top keep. They know they're strong. They know it's only a matter of time until Durotan's Couch gets their level 20s. As we do see Just Fizz trying to get it as soon as possible. Zeratul becomes very strong later into the game. Light Bomb comes in, but the Unstoppable does come out in time, and the dungeon comes through. Ancestral Healing coming out on top of Barrel. Just Fizz trying to run away, is able to deal a little bit of damage, but ultimately they're just kind of getting pulled into them. They still do not have the level 20s, and we have 2 of the horrors already attacking the core. Hogger goes down. Sir Noble and Captain Wedge trying to fight. Sir Noble does go down. Captain Wedge, no HP, and the game ends with game number 1 going towards BoomerGaming. Very, very clean play by BoomerGaming. They got their leads. There was a little bit back and forth to start the game. But once they got their lead, they knew we don't need to play stupid. We don't need to overextend. We can just do what we know we can do. We have the Sylvanas. Black Arrow's up. Let's pressure a fort as soon as we get the wave pressured in. The wave's not there. We don't do it. We take our camps. We make sure we don't lose the XP leads we get from our little advantages. And then once they got that level 20, there was no delay. They made sure to zone them off of the 2nd seed and then use that 3rd seed to end the game. Very, very clean win, and I'm very much looking forward to see how game number 2 pans out. And we'll be back after this. All right, so we are going to be going into game number 2 shortly, where we will go towards Cursed Hollow. But before we do, I would like to shout out AFK Journey for sponsoring this stream. Exclamation AFK Journey. Download the game today and hit the goals and help support this stream. And while we are also here getting ready for game 2, I will mention I will be casting again tomorrow with yet another double header. So let me double check which teams they are, just so I don't say the wrong thing. But I will be doing Hots Chads versus Zul'jin Distillery for Div C. And then Easy Blues and the Swarm versus Heavy Hitters for the Nexus League. Anyway, with that portion out of the way, let's get into the draft. Alright, so ban number 1 coming out right now for iFeed. They once again banned the Tracer. It seems like it's something they don't really want to deal with. Diablo ban as well. So far they've just been matching the bans. Different order, however. So let's see what they do ban here. I believe last time it was a Lucio ban and then a Garrosh ban from Durotan's Couch. They do ban the Brightwing this time. A little bit of a different ban coming out here. And for final ban, if they do decide to match it, they would go with the Garrosh. I'm not sure if the Garrosh is something that is commonly played by BoomerGaming, something that, whether it was something they didn't want to play on the map, or whether it's Bellers themselves that is absolutely terrifying on that hero. But the Garrosh will be mad again for game 2. We will not be seeing it today, unless we go to a game 3 potentially, but I have a feeling even if we do, it'll get banned out again. But Dahaka, however, did remain open, and Cursed Hollow, once again, one of those massive maps where globals are king. Yonners takes away the Hanzo. Hanzo, really solid pick once again. Able to get a lot of harass, able to get a lot of poke. And kind of this fulfills the same role as Junkrat in a way when it comes to preventing people from capping the points. Naturally, isn't quite as annoying without the traps and the concussion mine and all of that, but still a very solid pick, very solid DPS. Then Captain Wedge does pick up the Joanna. Joanna, I'm very curious to see it over on this side. Durotan's Couch, they did play the Varian last time, so they were kind of going on the pick comp. When you pick a Joanna, you definitely cannot do that anymore. It's going to be a bit of a different style, more teamfight oriented. And that's something that Hanzo will be doing better in as well. So very interesting to see how much their draft has changed, despite Cursed Hollow being a very similar map stylistically to Garden of Terror. Would you see Muradin and Genji picked up from the side of BoomerGaming? Genji, always a fun character to watch. An absolute pain to play against. Whenever you're against a good Genji, that Genji's gonna make your life absolute hell. He's gonna be running at you. He's gonna be coming from behind, just throwing his little shuriken. And individually, it doesn't deal a lot of damage, but you can't ignore him. He will eventually kill you, and it deals more than enough that you want to avoid it. And I'm very excited to watch iFeed play it. I always love seeing high-level Genji gameplay. That being said, Bellers picks up the Muradin. Pretty standard tank. Not going to be able to give quite as much praise as the Genji pick. And then we do see the Lucio and the Anduin bans coming out. So both sides continuing to ban away healers. Out of the big ones, Stukov and Rhaegar both still available. So I suspect we'll likely see those. Maybe Deckard Cain. Not sure which team would go for it, but we do see Blaze and the Rhaegar picked up from Durotan's Couch. This Blaze will be going to the offlane, unlike our previous series. Joanna's most likely going to be the main tank. Then Malfurion, another very good healer that I forgot to mention. And Malfurion's main advantage is he's able to top people up on mana, able to make sure that if there's anyone that has mana issues, they're able to get a lot of value out of it. But Malfurion also has the second advantage of having the root and the sleep. If you're able to combo on top of that, which with a Junkrat, you definitely can. You have Junkrat, you have Stormhammer from Muradin, you have even just the basic Snap Trap, and Drag from Dahaka. Lots of things to combo on top of that Malfurion root. The 10th pick, what will I just fizz pick? And it's the Deathwing! Now this is going to be very interesting. Double Bruiser tank composition coming out from Durotan's couch. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch because Deathwing, played in the right hands, can deal a lot of damage. Now, I do notice that in high level play, it's easier to focus down the Deathwing. There's a lot of opportunity to kind of abuse it there. But their team comp isn't built for it. Junkrat can only do light poke. Same with Genji. Genji can all in on squishies, but going up against a tank like that, definitely not the forte. Yeah, and we're going to be going into game number 2. Let me just get the proper format out. Good luck, have snacks. Thank you, Captain Wedge. Yeah, get your snacks ready right now as game 2 is about to come out. Both these teams, once again, being very positive. Durotan's couch still able to have a lot of fun despite losing game number 1.
10 seconds.
And that's kind of what you love seeing, and that's what NGS is about. There's friendship, positivity.
4.
But then you still want to try and win as soon as you get in game, and we know both these teams are going to bring their A game right now. Oh, we do see only 4 coming into the mid handshake for BoomerGaming. The Dahaka is electing go straight down bot. iFeed going to do as well, the same. And just walking backwards, poking them out. Beller's going to land the Stormhammer onto Captain Wedge. They do go for the Dwarf Toss. And they're able to get the push in mid for Durotan's couch. They're going to have first move there. However, iFeed is going to make sure no one can mount up to get towards Dope Monster in the bot lane. iFeed does take a decent bit of damage. Not too much, but definitely enough to have to walk away and tap. While we see Wildcard and Dope Monster, they're just going to be meeting each other. Did have to use a bro to go top, as we do see the drag. Going to get a little bit of poke. Definitely not going to be able to kill anytime soon. And I just fizz walking in. Pokes a little bit onto Joy Shifts, and then hides in the brush. Now, what I am curious about is what build this Deathwing will go. So far, it looks like the Lava Burst build is what's going to be coming out. Kind of more of a spellcaster than an auto attacker. And we do see both sides are starting to pick up their camps. Bruiser camp taken away by the side of Durotan's couch. And BoomerGaming going to take over their Bruiser camp as well. Drag does get jumped onto the Joanna. But Captain Wedge, once again, on Joanna. Not too much threat quite yet. Level 4s are coming out already for Durotan's couch. They're actually quite a bit ahead on the XP grade. And I just fizzed, really putting on pressure on this bot side 1v2. The two Bruiser camps are grouping up mid right now. Both sides trying to clear away. Slightly more creeps and push over the side of Durotan's couch. But let's see if they're able to really bring anything out of it. Dope Monster just kind of walks right through everything. Everyone ignores him. And I just was able to get a lot of poke damage. But with that being said, that's 5 members brought in by BoomerGaming. And right now, Durotan's couch, so many XP orbs just despawning. And that's where their lead is coming from. Durotan's couch is currently able to move around the map just that little bit better. They did delay taking their siege camp, and that might cost them. Blaze is very good at delaying and interrupting these tributes. Oh, there is 4 coming for that Blaze. Wildcard gets dismounted, not going to be in any danger, however. Still 9 seconds until the tribute spawns, so it does seem like Captain Wedge will be able to get there in time. Phase checks, but you can totally do that on Joanna. Dope Monster does take a lot of damage. And in fact, we do have the root and the sleep on a Captain Wedge. Captain Wedge has to run away. As they do get the drag onto Yawners, Yawners does get cleansed by Sir Noble. As the poke starts coming out from Yawners. And we did see on the minimap that Deathwing has taken flight. A 2-person sleep en route, but no follow-up on that. Wildcard is going to get them the positioning to get on top of this. Concussion Mine does come out, and I Just Fizzed lands up top. Ify trying to do something. A Jet Propulsion slightly whiffs. Another Root and Sleep coming out onto Captain Wedge, but in terms of damage, Bellers has taken a lot. Has to use the Dwarf Toss to get away. And Sir Noble gonna try to cap, and will be able to secure the cap. Bellers taking a bit more damage, but Muradin is quite tanky. Not really in a ton of threat there, as their attention was split towards the Tribute. So first Tribute going over to the sides of Durotan's couch. In the meanwhile, BoomerGaming was able to catch up a little bit on their XP. They did have Dope Monster collecting the wave in bot lane. As we do see the stun coming out onto Yonners. Yonners very low. Bellers trying to walk in, gets the root, and everything right on top. Bellers still quite high in HP. I feed in the area, but low. Isn't able to come up. Storehammer lands, and the drag. And now Captain Wedge is a little bit stuck. They do have the root and the sleep onto the healer, but no damage to follow up. So that's first blood going over to BoomerGaming. But during that, the bot lane wall in its entirety has been burned down by Wildcard. So in the meanwhile, I Just Fizzed gonna be burning out this top side, and they're going back to what's been working for them, just catching these waves and being able to outpush BoomerGaming. And that's really where there is a little bit of a weakness with the Genji. Genji is very bad at helping shove waves out. So the rest of the team is going to have to cut some slack. As we do see the fire burning right on top of everyone. They do get the blind. The Malfurin's dead. Joy Shift's sure to follow. As a 2-for-0 for the side of Durotan's couch. And that's a win they needed to get in order to be able to collect this tribute. And it's 2-0 for tributes. They're up half a level. They were down a kill, but now they're up a kill 2-1. And this third tribute is going to be very hard to contest, depending on the timing of it, depending on how much XP they're able to gather. All their camps are up, so they should be able to get XP pretty quickly. As we do actually see Durotan's couch is on the boss camp. And they're going to be able to get their level 10s off of this as well. BoomerGaming will be able to get their level 10s very soon as well. I don't expect there to be any fights off of that lead. J-Shift did take a decent amount of damage, but level 10s do come out now. The boss and Deathwing together are going to be crashing into the top side, and that's the beauty about Durotan Couch's map state. They don't need to contest this, but BoomerGaming cannot let it go. They have to make sure they get it because the curse is very, very powerful. We'll see if they're able to interrupt it. Yonner's trying to get close. The blind over the wall is able to prevent them from capping the point. But in the end, we'll be able to get it. Just a little bit of a delay. And the top lane for it does go down to the boss. Wildcard and Dope Monster just kind of looking at each other, utilizing some abilities for the harass. But end of the day, nothing's going to happen here. I don't even know why we're bothering with them. We can look at them when they try to group up. I Just Fizzed groups up with their team mid on top of the Bruiser camp, and they're able to get a lot of damage onto this wall. Boss just died over on the top side, did reach the wall a little bit, not a lot of damage though. As Riptire gets some damage done, but both had spell armor available, so end of the day, barely even count that as poke. Little bit of a waste of the Riptire, I'd say, but considering there wasn't really any creeps to kill. Dope Monster does burrow into all of them. And Bellers does get the stun with the Storm Hammer. A Dragon's Arrow comes out, but doesn't do a lot from that short of range. And at the end of the day, both teams are just gonna kind of stare at each other and say, "Well, we just used all those cooldowns." They're gonna walk away. Next tribute is spawning as Deathwing does take flight. We do get the Storm Hammer onto Sir Noble. Sir Noble gets rooted, gets slept. And we do see the ultimate coming out, and the drag, and just like that, the Rhaegar does go down. They're trying to fight back a little bit. I Just was able to get a decent amount of damage on an I feed, and we do have the fear coming through. Dope Monster, very low, goes into stasis, still not a lot of HP, trying to keep him alive. And they will be able to. I Just Fizz now getting low. Has to fly away. Whenever you can use your wings as an advantage, you definitely got to be able to do that. But just like that, they're able to secure themselves the second tribute. And this is where the game gets interesting. Now both sides have their second tribute, as the bot fort will go down to these creeps. It was a 4v5 fight, and I'm wondering if maybe it was worth just trying to fight it as 5. The bot lane fort would surely go down as a result of the curse, but getting that second tap for the side of BoomerGaming is definitely not good for them. And now they have to contest the next one. They were able to get a couple advantages, and they'll still be in a good position as the shield toss does come out. Jet propulsion onto the healer, and just like that, Malfurion is deleted. Riptire coming out into the middle of everyone just to disengage. But that's a very big hero to catch out. Tranquility, sorry, just trying to learn the names. Bellers is spotted out by Honors. The next tribute is spawning, and right above them. But they're not even going to go for the tribute. They know they have a numbers advantage. They know they have map advantage. They're just going to go for the mid fort. It does seem like they were trying to group up for the boss because they thought that Durotan's couch would go for the tribute, but they didn't. They went for the extra damage, and they're able to get quite a bit out of it. Dope Monster Burrows gets the drag onto Sir Noble, and Sir Noble has to use the Ancestral Healing to try and stay alive. And Tranquility comes out from Bogatron, keeping them all alive. So a bit of a trade of cooldowns. As I have noticed that Bunker was used at some point, but not sure where. Jet Propulsion onto 2. Genji is protected. Feed still pretty low. A lot of fire just going left and right. A lot of damage moving overall. Beller's very low, is blinded, but is able to get the Dwarf Toss away. Dragon's Arrow does come out, but no follow-up. Oh, and last second, I Just Fizzed is able to get the last hit. And with that, the curse begins. And this is the effect the caster curse has if anyone ever uses it. That's why we're so careful. They're going to use this pressure to go through the mid wave. They already have all 3 forts now. And they still have a minute on this curse. And they're going to use it to steal the camps. It doesn't seem like they want to really go for anything else right now. Riptire being used to scout them and then to clear the waves. They are able to steal away this bruiser camp. I Just Fizz does group towards bot side. They have a decently sized wave there. Going to get a lot of damage onto this wall. And in the mid wave, we have Wildcard firing onto that as well. Flame Breath being used. I believe that's called Flame Breath. Nope. I don't know. Anyway, back into focusing onto the fight. We do have the Fear utilized by I Just Fizz. It didn't end up landing on anyone. Bellers is taking a decent amount of harass as the keep does start getting hit. I Just Fizz, less than half HP. Feed able to get a lot of damage. And they do have the shield toss coming out. Dragon's Arrow onto Bellers as well. Bellers has to pop the Avatar to stay alive, as well as a Tranquility. Genji comes in and gets Jet Propulsioned up, but not a lot of follow-up to that stun. End of the day, no one ends up going down, but a lot of damage done to the buildings of BoomerGaming. Both bosses are now up. Level 16 advantage still on the side of Durotan's couch, and Captain's Wedge was prevented from hearthing. Not a lot of mana. Should be enough to walk away. They can try and delay it a little bit. And he's still going in. Bellers wants to chase. Use the Storm Hammer. But Captain's Wedge will be able to just walk back. And decides to tap and not hearth in the end. Both sides going to go take their bosses right now. Going to be a little bit of a handshake in that regard. I don't think it's really worth for either side to contest this. There's still going to be a decent wait until the next curse spawns. May as well get out of the way. Get the XP. Both sides now on their level 16 talents. So gonna see how that. Gonna see no advantage coming out from either of these sides until the level 20s do come in. It is about 1 level lead for Durotan's couch. So once they do get that timer, they will have a decent amount of time to be able to utilize it. As they do go in to steal the siege camp from BoomerGaming. I Just Feed jumps over the wall, gets stunned. Jet Propulsion on top. Do they have enough DPS? Just barely not able to. Feed getting away with no health. Riptire coming in through the middle of the wall. Jumps on I Just Fizz. I Just Fizz does not have a lot of HP. Bellers is there with Avatar on. And I just is trying to survive as long as possible. Bellers will be able to secure that siege cap. And I just Fist kind of goes in. I don't think you want to be going in there with that health bar, as he does get taken out. And now iFeed is able to jump in from the back. Sir Noble does get ancestral healing, but it doesn't matter. He gets rooted, slept, and taken down. Trying to survive a while, but Sir Noble will eventually go down there, as the fort does go down on the bot side and the wall goes down on the top side by the two bosses. Tribute is spawning, and right now it's a 5-on-3, so BoomerGaming should be able to get this tribute for themselves. And this boss is still alive. They're not going to be able to get too much value out of it using the curse, as iFeed will finish collecting that, as it's already low HP, does get cleared away, but they will still be able to shove out of this. Dahaka is going to be getting pressure on top, but looks like he's actually burrowing in towards the bot side already. Gonna group as 4. iFeed on the Genji, shoving out the mid wave, trying to get either pressure or get that fort. And they're already on top of the keep. They got the root, Iron Skin forced to be used. And iFeed jumping in, trying to get as much poke and harass onto everyone and the keep. Still 40 seconds left on the curse. This keep looks like it's just going to go down. Unless Durotan's catch is able to engage. And with the Riptire, it will be hard. But Captain Wedge gets kind of knocked into a good spot for them. And look at that damage dealt onto Bellers. They will be able to capture that keep. And that's all they wanted. They're backing away now. We do still have the top side. That fort's not going to survive. And in the mid lane, they're going to walk in. And that should be the last of the value that you see from their curse. But getting 2 forts and a keep is insane value coming out from the curse. And with that, the XP lead that was once on the side of Durotan's couch is now completely gone. Both sides are level 19. Both sides have camps to collect. And I expect both sides will hit level 20 soon. And with the curse having just gone through, there won't be any real pressure coming out from either side. Not going to be any tributes coming out. And level 20 is hit by Durotan's couch. And while BoomerGaming is level 19, with the current wave state, with the current map state, there's really no objective or pressure that Durotan's couch can apply. All they can really do is collect their camps, collect their waves, and try and utilize that to really abuse the pressure on the map. So now we do see BoomerGaming got the bruiser camp. Doesn't look like they really want to follow through with it. iFeed jumping over the wall. Slowly grouping together. Captain Wedge. They don't see him. Captain Wedge does spot him. They do see each other now, and he's able to get onto 3. Shield toss coming in. So is the Dragon Arrow. And the skies descend onto everyone with the stun coming onto E-Begatron. E-Begatron does get taken down. They are slept on the backline, so they are a bit slow to follow, but Yonners is still there, jumping onto Bellers. Bellers is quite low, already popped. Oh no, Avatar is still available. Wildcard misses the jet propulsion. Dope Monster is still on the wrong side of the map. And probably just going to try to buy time. And I don't know if he's even worth chasing. He is going to just burrow away to safety. And not only burrow away to safety, but also utilize that to come collect the bot side and start pressuring on the bot side of the map. Captain Wedge and Wildcard gonna be trying to take away the siege camp. J-Shifts, while he is helping out with the DPS, will try to use a concussive mine, but Iron Skin, unfortunately, too good of an ability for that. Siege camp will get deleted pretty much instantly as Fizz does come in. And they are trying to pressure out this keep. And Captain Wedge does get stuck a little bit. X-Strike having to use, but jet propulsion time perfectly. And with the shield toss to follow up on that, the Genji was not long for this world. Very, very good reflexes and team coordination coming out from Durotan's couch to be able to catch iFile. They're slowly burning down this keep. Just a little bit more damage, but doesn't seem like they'll be able to get it. 10 seconds until tribute. They do want to use this 4v5 advantage they have. Fizz, unfortunately, on the Deathwing won't be able to heal. Can only heal using those orbs. As they do start their boss, it is 4v5, but the boss can still deal a lot of damage to them. This will be difficult, especially into a Junkrat. And it seems like they are electing to go for the boss instead of going for their tribute. And I suspect the reason for that is both sides are on 0 tributes right now. So tribute doesn't really give anyone the advantage. I don't think either team really wants the game to go that late. But if they are able to take their boss... Oh, as the drag does come out onto Captain Wedge, but that's just going to be some poke. But anyway, if the objective was... if the boss is taken, then they can contest the boss on the other side of the map. As Wildcard comes in, uses all of the DPS. I believe Pyromania utilized. As Yanmers is able to get in the backline. But speaking of the backline, Dope Monster is already on the backline. Captain Wedge in the middle of everyone. Bellers is starting to get low, but so is Captain Wedge. X-Ray comes in right on top of Yonners and Sir Noble. Yonners is going to die. Dope Monster running after Sir Noble now. And that's 2 for nothing so far. As Sir Noble is still being chased. Ancestor healing coming out, but will that even make a difference? There's so many of them running at him. Bellers throws the stun into them, groups them both together so they can both deal as much damage as possible. But I Just Fizzed actually dealing a lot of damage. Gets the fear out, and Sir Noble trying to jump onto Ify does go down. Dope Monster still alive, but Wildcard also able to use the jets there. And Begatron kind of caught in the middle of them, but Riptire able to hit onto all of them. Jet Propulsion hits everyone, and somehow what started off as a 2 for 0 for BoomerGaming turns into a 3 for 2 for Durotan's Couch. You got to give them a lot of credit where credit's due. They were behind on numbers. They were even in a very strange position, but they had the confidence. They did not give up. They were not trying to get away. They were trying to win that fight, and they did. And the keep actually does go down in the top lane during all that. So now the map pressure will be answered back by the side of Durotan's Couch. I Just Fizzed comes in here, and J-Shift's a little bit on their own, completely the wrong side of the map. Dragon's Arrow also lands on top of Bellers. Bellers does get pulled back, isn't able to dwarf times, has to use the rewind, but still gets down on top of that with Yonners. And they're still jumping on top of him. Avatar utilized, but not able to do anything except ever so slightly delay the inevitable death. Let's get existential here as the boss camp is getting taken down by Durotan's Couch. Now the question is, what are they going to do after this? Are they going to try and push to end with this? I don't know if the boss will be quick enough or if all of them will spawn in time. But it does look like that is the call. They're all running over top, but we see iFeed's already gripping down bot. And Dope Monster as well. Are we going to see a base race? The boss is going to be slow. Dope Monster already on top of the core. And I Just Fizzed gets here in time, is going to try and deal damage. Dope Monster forced to stasis away. And now Dope Monster's a little bit on the wrong side of the map. They are using the Tranquility, but I think that they successfully defended this. And with that being done, the siege camp is on the core. The boss camp is on the core. It was a very smart attempt, but Durotan's Couch, they're going to be able to end the game here, I think. The boss is not being touched. A shield toss thrown, and just like that, game number 2 goes over to Durotan's Couch. And we are going to game number 3. Yeah, an absolute banger of a game. And once again, both these sides are giving it their all. The real difference at the end for that game was Wildcard, I Just Fizzed, and Sir Noble fighting 3v5 and being able to take down 3 without losing a single member after that. That was the push that got them over through to the finish line. They were able to get the boss, and it was a very good call by BoomerGaming. They also did not give up. They had Dope Monster, iFeed, and Begatron try and backdoor the core. They knew they had it available. They did not have a wave, unfortunately, but they knew they'd be able to get there before the boss. But Durotan's Couch saw the play coming. They were able to react in time, and I Just Fizzed was able to push them away to get them that victory. So with that being said, it's time to go for another short little break, and when we're back, we're going to have our third and final game. Don't go anywhere. And we are back with a third and final game for the day, as we are going on to Battlefields of Eternity between the BoomerGaming and Durotan's Couch. And I'm wondering once again, like, I don't know why I'm so hung up on this, but I want to see if Garrosh gets picked, or if Garrosh is able to go through the bans this time around. Garrosh is a character I love watching. In the right hands, Garrosh can do so much damage to enemy teams. But anyway, Battlefields of Eternity. We're mostly going to be... I assume we might get some changes in the bans, as having fast DPS is very important here. So something like Vala, something like even Li Ming potentially could get picked up here, as they are very good at killing the Immortals overthrough in the mid lane. And the Garrosh does get banned, so no change in bans for the side of Durotan's Couch. They're pretty content to just let the Diablo and the Garrosh be removed. As we are waiting on the final ban. The Tracer ban has stayed consistent all series long. And now they get rid of the Hanzo. So they just don't want to deal with the Hanzo anymore. And Vala insta-locked by Yonners. And Vala, very, very strong on this map. No question about it. Almost certainly going the Hungering Arrows build. Very strong at killing the Immortals. And very safe to do it too, because you just need to fire it off, and then you can leave, and the arrows will still be dealing a ton of damage. However, that only becomes true, I believe, at the level 13 talent. 13 or 16, it's one of those. As we do see the Li Ming picked, and Bellers will run the Muradin again. Muradin, I did see struggled a little bit last game, but that being said, so did their team. So did their entire team. That Deathwing was just able to wreak absolute havoc on them. And the 10th pick was able to bring them a lot of value. And I'm wondering if BoomerGaming will be able to bring out a super value 10th pick. I just see the Uther and the Sonya picked from Durotan's Couch. Sonya, very strong offlaner, very strong duelist. And can also help a lot with the race to kill the Immortals. But Uther... Now, I'm wondering how they're going to play, and it is possible it could be an Uther tank. You don't see it often, but you do see it time to time. I would be very surprised, but I don't want to write it off quite yet. Stukov gets banned out for the side of BoomerGaming, and it looks like they are thinking on the same idea as me. Now, the Uther, while cannot solo tank, with the Sonya and a second healer behind him, would be able to tank quite well. And there are still decent options available in terms of healers. Like I said earlier, Anduin is still available. Rhaegar is still available. And one character I've noticed that has Ana, a very interesting ban on the Ana. She is quite good on this map, just being able to do everything from a very far distance makes racing a lot easier. But I am seeing that Lucio has neither been picked or banned yet, and I'm wondering if either side decides to go for them. Now, Lucio is good, but by no means a must pick. There are still good alternative healers like Rhaegar, and we will see shortly as I feed. They do take the Anduin and Blaze. Now we're going to be seeing the Blaze over on the side of BoomerGaming. So it's going to be a Blaze versus Sonya matchup. And I believe the Blaze really does not stand a chance at killing the Sonya, while the Sonya can kill the Blaze. But at the same time, iFeed should be able to just shove out the wave. And they are doing some funky stuff. Double Bruiser, Uther, Vala. And Sonya, Vala, and the double healer comp. This is a very interesting composition coming out from the side of Durotan's Couch. Uther, one of his biggest weaknesses, whether it's tank or healer build, is he runs through his mana very quickly. But Malfurion is kind of able to offset that. So if Sir Noble is able to be smart with the mana usage, and also utilize the extra mana given by Captain Wedge, Cernoble's going to be able to do a lot for his team. And the Medivh is picked as 10th. And I think that's where things get really interesting, because with the Medivh, Li Ming is going to be very difficult to get on top of. They are lacking a little bit of physical damage, and I do believe Malfurion has a spell armor talent. I'm not 100% certain. I don't know too much about Malfurion, having never really played too many healers myself. But this is going to be a very interesting game 3. I love this draft, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Okay, we are in game number 3, as I had the wrong layout, but we're good now. And with game number 3 starting, before we do go, I do want to mention I will be casting 2 more games tomorrow, another doubleheader, starting at 6 Pacific, with game 1 being 6 Pacific, and series number 2 starting at 8 Pacific. We'll be going through Div C and Div D East, I believe. No, we're going Div C and then Nexus Division. So it'll be the same league as this one. As both sides are starting to group in. We have Bellers all getting the brush control. Walking on just Fizz. Not able to dismount though. Just a little bit of poke coming back and forth. Orb just barely misses. And out of curiosity, the Li Ming is going the teleport talent so far. Teleport costs no mana and is able to get resets. And we do have the spear landing onto the Medivh, gets stunned again. Oh, sorry, onto the Anduin. And Yonners is able to run back and forth. Gets a stack on the Hungering Arrow. Beller's able to get some DPS as well. And we do see the Puncturing Arrow talent coming in. And that's the infinitely stacking damage buff. A Magic Missile coming out right now. Just for some extra harass. Captain Wedge trying to walk in as well. Able to get the hammer down. I'll be saying that a lot. Hammer of Justice down on top of Bellers. Able to get a decent chunk of poke. And a lot of them will have to tap for this. And with all that pressure, they do decide, hey, we're winning these fights. Let's start into the siege camp. Orb lands on a Yonners. Almost max range. Able to deal quite a bit of damage. And I just is gonna get that spear onto J Shifts, but J Shifts is able to get away. Next orb does miss. Magic missiles also not quite landing. And they should be able to just catch this camp, and they do. Captain Wedge takes a decent amount of damage in the backline though, but should be okay with a double healer. Siege camp does get secured by Durotan's couch, and that's a slight advantage going over to them. And the spear does land once again with Hammer of Justice and the Root and Sleep. A lot of damage on a J Shifts. 8 Bagatron forced to use the pull. Just checking an ability named Celestial Charge. Celestial Charge lands onto a Dope Monster here. And now they're going to use this Siege Camp, get some damage on the wall, and they're going to get a decent chunk of DPS here. Top Cannon Turret, a little bit over half HP, but definitely getting the value out of it on top of the XP they gain from it. Now both sides get the level 4 talents, as Yonners does start onto the Siege Camp. Or, sorry, onto the Bruiser Camp. Mortals are spawning in 30 seconds. And both sides just going to be making sure their waves are shoved out, their Bruiser Camps are taken, and the real fight is going to begin once the Immortals do spawn. But one thing I do want to point out right now, the Medivh is at 21 stacks. Once he hits 40, Medivh, that's when Medivh becomes the true DPS. Medivh is a very, very strong mage once those 40 stacks are hit. But if he dies before getting them, they're all gone. Siege Camp does get taken over on the top side as the attack commences. They are able to get a little bit of damage onto them, just kind of trying to delay them getting in. BoomerGaming getting a lot of damage onto the Immortal. Now going to be zoned away, but they were still able to get 5k damage. This is very significant. But now Durotan's couch is just going to hard press. Yonner starting to DPS onto the Immortal. trying to stay a little bit positive, as we do see Captain Wedge and I Just Fizz trying to defend. Jet Propulsion does miss. Root lands, Orb lands onto Captain Wedge, but they are getting zoned out by Yanero. And during all this, Dope Monster jumping onto Captain Wedge. Captain Wedge gets hit by the Jet Propulsion, and they're able to get the last hit over to get the kill as the halftime begins on the Immortal. They were able to get about 4k damage onto their Immortal on the bot side. And now it's just going to be a straight race. A Dope Monster trying to fend off this team. But iFeed is here to defend. And I just noticed iFeed is the one on the piloting this Blaze. Typically running secondary DPS. This is a very interesting change that I know it's a little bit late, to be honest. They are racing, and they will be able to get a lot of DPS done. So only 900 health left on the shield. This Immortal will not be in range form for too long. I don't even expect it will get a single hit off in range form. But with the first Immortal, you typically aren't trying to get too much anyway. It is quite weak, quite squishy. All you're really hoping is to at least damage the walls in the front. And it will definitely be able to do that much. If they're able to clear out this wall, they will be happy. As the orb does come out, first turret down, the gate's still available. Second turret also going to go down, so they will clear out this wall. A Celestial Charge does come in, Hammer of Justice on top as well. And Jay shifts, just teleports away. A little bit of HP left. How much? 10 health left on this. Dope Monster does come in to finish it off. Celestial Charge does land. The Honors will land the Hungering Arrow, but will be protected by Jay Shift. And in the meanwhile, in the bot side, Ivy jumps on a Wildcard. It's 3-on-1, gets the stun. Ballers able to get the Jet Propulsion. It just Wildcard can't move, just perma-stunned. And Sonya, 10 HP, and the Dwarf Toss will be able to get the last hit to finish that off. 2-for-0 in terms of kills for BoomerGaming now, and they'll be able to take the Siege Camp as their prize. Yoners is starting to run down. Tries to check the bush, but not really able to. And this is one of the weaknesses when you don't have a true tank. You can't really check bushes quite as well. You are able to fight in the open, but when it comes to potentially checking a bush that could have 3 or 4 members, it is very difficult to do safely. I Just Fizzed in the back line. Does get hit by the Storm Hammer, so nothing happening there. And to pay attention to the stacks, once again, Arcane Rift, 36 stacks for J Shift. If he can just get 4 more hits, you'll be in a very good spot for the rest of the game. 3 more now. Orbo does not land on anything else. Just lands on the creeps to help zone it out. As they are able to get a decent bit more damage onto this wall. Not able to pressure any further. Captain Wedge trying to group up down here. Dodges out from the Storm Hammer. And the Bruiser Camp is getting started by Durotan's Couch. They did take it just a couple seconds earlier. But Captain Wedge might be a little bit overextended as the Storm Hammer comes in. And we do see the Light Bomb coming out. And just like that, they get another pick. 3-for-0 for kills. And with the Immortals having just spawned, that's going to be what they choose to go for. They aren't going for the Bruiser Camp. And it does seem like Durotan's Couch decided, hey, we're 45, we can't contest anyway. So I Just Fizz is going to stay over to the bot side, clear that out, and they're going to grab the Siege Camp. So while they do lose the halftime here, they do have wave pressure, and they're tied in XP, despite being down 3 kills, just because of their excellent map movement. So the real question is, what can this next fight do? Dwarf Toss jumping in, not able to land the Storm Hammer. A stun miss Wildcard takes a lot of damage, has to use the leap to get away, but a 4-man Celestial Charge! Can they follow up on it, though? That is the question. No, they cannot. Feed has to use the bunker, trying to get through the portal. Beller's kind of on his own, but they will be okay. Unfortunately, no follow-up onto that 4-man Celestial Charge. That could have been an absolute team fight winning hit. Beller's able to get the stun onto Captain Wedge. Light Bomb used on the Megatron, only lands on Captain Wedge, instantly getting hit. And then Captain Wedge getting thrown. Once again, taking as much damage as possible. Chernobyl's Tranquility is not enough to keep him alive. He is still alive in his Spectre form, not able to kill everyone out. Beller's taking a lot of damage, pops the Avatar. Chernobyl getting stunned, hit, healed. Very low HP, trying to regen out, doesn't matter. Yoners trying to deal some damage to the backline, but in the meanwhile, Dwarf Toss gets on top of Wildcard. Wildcard gets hit by the Storm Hammer and stays dead as well. Storm Hammer Misses on I Just Fizz. And J-Shifts also gets caught now, but is able to get pulled out by E-Bagatron. And just like that, another team fight victory going over towards BoomerGaming. 7-0 in terms of kills. They've had some very close calls, but they have not been able to get killed. And I talked about this before, I'm sure most of you have noticed or assumed, but the Arcane Rift talent has been finished. The quest is now done. And what this means is the Medivh is a true DPS now. Instead of just the utility that Medivh provides, or I should say on top of the utility. And note, by the way, Leyline Seal was not used in that fight. There was no need for it. J-Shift is going to be a little bit of a monster now. Very strong composition coming in from Durotan's couch. As the Immortal does come down, still in range form, able to get a decent amount of damage onto the wall. And still full health in melee form. As they do start approaching the fort. They do get the Hammer of Justice onto Bellers, just kind of trying to delay, keep their damage down. As iFeed actually comes in from behind. Jet Propulsion on top, and then we have the Celestial Charge as well. iFeed a little bit on their own, a little bit in the wrong part of the map. A constant stun, and is forced to use the pull as Bellers lands two-person Stormhammer, and Captain Wedge gets killed once again. The Uther getting picked off time and time again. Now, while Uther can heal while dead, it is not where you want one of your pseudo frontliners to be. You kind of want that Uther to be able to survive, to be able to walk into the enemy team, just kind of use the Hammer of Justice and all that. I kind of really abuse the fact that you have three frontliners that are just as happy as any one of the others to stand in the front and tank all the damage for their team. And they are looking a little bit lost, a little bit nervous to walk up. Siege Camp is spawned. They don't have their level 13, so they will have it very shortly, as Captain Wedge does grab the XP for it. They are able to burst the Siege Camp. So they are a full level down right now. But they're not down a talent. They are going to try and defend this fort. It does seem like that's where the siege is coming for BoomerGaming. And they do have all five here. Bellers is trying to group up in the back. E-Bagatron getting ready to pull anyone out if they need to. And the Bruiser Camp has respawned. But Beller seems to be going deeper. Wildcard, about half HP, uses the leap to get away, and that's a big cooldown down. The Jet Propulsion used onto iFeed. Celestial Charge goes off. It doesn't hit. And he does get the pullback. Is there follow-up? They do. They have it on top with the Sir Noble. And then iFeed, still very low HP, but is able to take the portal away. And Celestial Charge onto another two. Bellers is on top of everyone. Is taking down. Gets pulled away by E-Bogatron. And now their first kill is a big one, because now they have the advantage when it comes to the pull. No. Oh, Monster Hunter is actually the level 7 talent. So Yonners is already dealing incredible damage towards these Immortals. Not a lot of stacks on the Hungering Arrow, to be completely honest. It's not bad, but not a lot. But either way, with that talent, they're able to absolutely destroy these Immortals. Now the Blaze has respawned, so it's 5-on-5 again, but the Bruiser Camp is up. They're just going to take that, gain the map pressure from it. They are still going to be losing from the bot side. Dope Monster just utilizing the range to get as much poke onto the Immortal as possible. And Captain Wedge makes sure that the wave is shoved in as well. They have to deal with it now. They're sending two. iFeed is there, and J shifts in bird form. Just kind of there to watch. Bellers is in the front, taking a little bit, trying to prevent the Hungering Arrows from really dealing too much damage towards just Immortal. As Dope Monster will be shooting orbs left and right. They do get the stun and the root, but cleansed away by I Just Fizz. Very good cleanse. As they do get the charge. Leap utilized. Lots of stuns, but unfortunately no damage between the protection and the cleanse and the pull from Megatron. No value gained. They are, however, able to kill this Immortal. Just a little bit left. Leyline Seal used to delay. I Just see. They do have Light Bomb. Light Bomb on to 3 with the Dwarf Toss, and then a massive stun. They are trying to get as much shields. Yonners gets picked off on the backside. They do throw down, but is able to get the protection. iFeed still alive, still full HP. Jet Propulsion on it too. Captain Wedge trying to run away, but Captain Wedge is slowed, Stormhammered, and once again will go down. So they are able to get the Immortal, but it's not worth it if you lose 3 in the process. They will get this top lane fort, but I think that's all they'll be able to do. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if BoomerGaming is also able to get something else in the backline, though it doesn't seem like the waves are in a good state for it. But ultimately, being able to diminish the win for Durotan's couch on its own is a reward, as they are over a level ahead now. Still no level 16 talents coming out from Durotan's couch. Whoa.
Red team has destroyed a fort.
I totally dropped my mouse. We're good. And they are actually going to try and trade for that fort. So in terms of full objectives, it's just an even trade. They are here to defend. Maybe won't be able to finish it as Leyline Seal comes out. Just trying to prevent the fight from starting, as level 16 is hit from Durotan's couch. They are running into the siege camp. BoomerGaming doesn't really care. They're going to go trade it for the bot lane siege camp. Overall, if the map state stays equal, they will still keep their level and a half lead. And that's what's important to note. They don't need to press their advantage now. They can wait until they have the superior talents. Bruiser camp is available. Both sides starting to eye it. Jay shifts, being smart, goes into bird form. He's like, hey, I see you. I'm a bird. And they're scared of birds, so they just walk away. Neither side is going for the bruiser camp quite yet. Probably waiting to get closer to the immortal spawn. They'll try and utilize a little bit more of that timing to really utilize the push better. They are still looking bot. I just fizzed. Kind of in the middle there. Barely out of range for the orb. Very close call by Dope Monsters. Celestial Charge does end up missing. Wrath of the... I have no idea how to pronounce it. If anyone has any clues in chat, please let me know how to say Wrath of the Angiris? Wrath of the Angiris? I don't know. I'm doing my best here. Anyway, 3-man Leyline Seal. Stormhammer on top of it. Yonners does get cleansed out. Orb just barely lands onto Yonners. But ultimately, nothing extreme used. Some cooldowns used from both sides, but most cooldowns still available for this next fight. The Immortals are spawning right now. But because of that pressure, the Bruiser camp is still up, so they aren't going to be able to utilize this, at least for the first half. And with the Vala being Vala, they are going to be able to race this. So they're going to have to try and get a fight started on the side of Boomers Gaming. Still no advantage. Towns are even. And Celestial Charge does land. We do see all the heals coming out from Sir Noble. Bunker coming out. Ballers is at half HP, and they are now at half time. They do get the Celestial Charge on iFeed. iFeed does get pulled away, and the lead lands on a 2. They're throwing the light bomb, but they're still both very low. E-Bagatron protected. Very low, 300 HP. Can anyone get closer? The Leyline Seal prevents any kind of chase. Yonners trying to get iFeed in the backline, but wasn't able to. But while they weren't able to get any kills, their HP lead will be more than enough to secure this Immortal. They're going to try and deal as much damage as possible to it right now, so that there's less shield time. But that's still 26,300 health on that shield coming up. Sorry, I need a little bit of a drink. It's my 5th game of the day, so voice is starting to get a little bit hoarse, but that's how we build stamina. So now, Immortal is going to be spawning in towards the bot side, but they don't have the waves shoved out quite yet. They do have the Bruiser camp shoving in top over with Wildcard, but will still be a bit before they're able to get close enough with the wave to really pressure. They do get the Hammer of Justice onto Bellers, and they are trying to root him, and Leyline Seal does get onto the healer, and iFeed going to try and land something. As won't be able to get the light bomb combination with the jet propulsion yet. And Leap lands onto 3 in the backline. A Wildcard on the back is able to pick off the animal. There's no healers left. They do have Muradin in the bunker, but he gets slept. He does end up going through the portal and is able to jump away with the Stormhammer. So only able to get 1 kill off of that, but during all of that, the Immortal is still pushing and the HP advantage is still there. And with Anduin gone, they're not going to be able to regen it back. So it looks like first keep of the game. Oh, as they do get the Celestial Charge and another sleep. And 3-man Leyline from J-Ship. Aegis is trying to continue to fight, but will get hit and cleansed. But they were still able to get the keep to half HP. And they can continue pushing. The Anduin still isn't around. And they also have the Bruiser camp fighting in topside was able to pick off the wall, and now they're attacking the keep. Blaze is going to come up there to try and defend it, but in the meanwhile, they're just going to force down the spot and keep. They're looking for a little bit of a fight, but no pick came freely. They're just going to leave. So they got the bot keep, and the top keep is at around half HP. They're going to decide to be smart. They're not going to go for the Bruiser camp. They will, however, take the free siege camp. Bellers is running in, teleports in, and I just fizzed low on mana, so trying to be a little bit safe. Use the Celestial Charge defensively. Leyline Seal, it has landed, but it's landed onto the Uther. I just fizzed is still alive, very low HP, not able to stay alive. They are able to get a couple Hungering Arrows. Bellers jumps in and gets jumped on. Level 20 talents now coming out from both sides. They were trying to utilize that advantage on BoomerGaming, but at the end of the day, it only gets them one kill. But it's a 45-second death timer, and Immortals are spawning in 20. So they will have around 20-25 second advantage of being able to just DPS. Now, that won't be enough time to take the full Immortal on its own, but that will be enough to get the halftime at the very least. Now, Captain Wedge is going to run up top, does not want to give away the siege camp, throws down the Hammer of Justice, and is just poking as much as he can. Trying to delay the siege camp, but I'd actually argue delaying the siege camp is worse for them. The longer it takes the siege camp to come out, the longer it'll take for them to kill it. As Leyline Seal does land, Hammer of Justice was used. So is the Root on the sleep, but now it's Bellers that's kind of caught on their own. And Bellers, very low HP, one more hit, and he's just gone. So, number advantage be damned. It's a 5v4 for the favor of Durotan's couch now. I knew we were going to see a banger series today. I did not realize just how close and intense this game will be. Both sides starting to group towards the Immortals. Yonners loses all of his HP, just gets absolutely blown up by an eye feed. Oh my god. Absolutely taken down and deleted from the game. And just like that, they know they can go aggressive. There's no Vala. Vala is their main DPS. They are throwing damage. Curse of the Angier is coming down. No Root coming out from Sir Noble. They are able to get some stuns. Jet Propulsion is able to come in, able to use the bunker to stay alive. Leyline Seal onto every member. And they're just going to use that to reset. They don't want to fight. They realize they do not have the mana bars. They don't have the HP bars. And their tank is coming up in 10 seconds. They are still winning in the race. And without the Vala up right now, they're not going to be able to really catch up. Wildcard is going to be their best DPS right now. But unfortunately, but Wildcard also gets blown up. Hit by Dope Monster. And the late game Lee Mink really starting to come out and play here. When the abilities land, they land. Orb chucked out once again. They are going to bring it to halftime here. Wildcard is regenning. As we do see Yonners coming back out of the lane. Bruiser Camp is there, but J-Shifts is scouting it. They are going to try and quickly kill it, but I think it might not be a good timing for it. As Ballers does get stunned. Not able to get the follow-up from I Just Fizzed with a Celestial Charge. They are running down, once again, playing around the Blue Immortal. So BoomerGaming is focusing more on the defense. They know that a race is difficult for them to win. And they do have the creeps shoving in. Lee Ming did come back trying to delay it. But their fort is starting to take damage. The wave did get shrunk, but not completely deleted. As a stun does come out, Leyline Seal once again onto 4 members. Wildcard completely on their own at the backline. Leaps away to trade for the Light Bomb. But ultimate advantage going towards Durotan's couch. Tranquility coming out. And the Curse of the Angiers to bring the Blaze back in the backline. But I don't know if that's who you want. He is able to just bunker as the Uther dies in the front line. They are currently trying to DPS. I feed very low on mana. Curse of the Angiers coming out. Is protected. And he's just staying to fight. Does take the portal out last second. But the longer they delay, the better their waves are. Look at the wave states. Top wave, ball wave. Lots of creeps there. So if they can defend and delay, that is enough for them. As the Blaze does go back to base to deal with this. Yonners is still alive, and once they see that, hey, it's no longer 5v4 here, they have to deal with the wave, they can come back in. Yonners gonna start trying to DPS, hardcore DPS, and utilizing every single Hungering Arrow, 4 Hungering Arrows, but unfortunately does get Leyline Sealed, and this might be it. They do land the root onto Giannis. Giannis also dies. Curse of the Angieri is trying to grab him, but the light bomb also going to be thrown on I'm Just Fizz. I'm Just Fizz alone and all of the members. And then Sir Noble also getting stunned up by Sir Bellers. The root lands just in time, but is not able to keep them alive. All keeps gone from the side of Boomers Gaming, but all members gone from the side of Durotan's couch. Dope Monster is having some mana issues to be able to finish this final Immortal, as the rest of the squad does come to the Bruiser camp, try and kill that. And what I'm wondering to see is, how much will they try and get with this Immortal? Because the death timers are still pretty long, 30 seconds until most of their members. But the Immortal is a little bit slow, low shield. Will they try to end the game with this, or are they going to try and settle for just the keep? They are pushing hard right now, so it does seem like they may want to try and end the game. But the issue is you have to keep someone back, or those catapults will absolutely destroy your base. So the real question is, how long can they defend this Immortal for? It's less about how much damage they can deal, and how much they can prevent this Immortal from tanking. Giannis is trying to deal as much DPS as possible. They are getting a good amount of damage, as they are able to knock everyone in the back, but they are invulnerable. They do get pulled out. I'm Just Fizz gets knocked away from the orb, actually, but does get stunned once again. Tranquility comes out, but not in time. And that keep is dead. Immortal still at half HP. Jet Propulsion not landing onto anyone. They are able to get a couple stuns, but protected through it. And it does look like Boomers Gaming, they're going to try to win. Leap lands onto the backline, but protected. Light Bomb onto Wildcard. Wildcard stunned, but they're not even really fighting right now. They're just trying to hit the core. They are focusing everything onto the core. Megatron trying to deal as much damage as possible. Same with Dope Monster, just throwing out orbs against the core. Giannis is trying to defend. They're defending with all their might. Jet Propulsion lands onto Captain Wedge, but will be cleansed. A lot of damage dealing back and forth, so they were able to get 45% damage onto the core, but they were not able to end. The defense does come out. Giannis able to get a lot of stacks in those fights. Now sitting over at 41 puncturing arrow stacks. And the game continues. 26-minute game. We're starting to hit mid-level 20s. And it's still anyone's game. And I think that's the most insane part about this. They have the keep advantage on Durotan's couch, but if there's a base race, they have the HP advantage for Boomer Gaming. And I think what it's really going to come down to is who wins the next team fight. I think if anyone decisively wins a team fight, it's game over, regardless of who does it, regardless of position. Wildcard is starting to get set up, trying to walk into the bush. They are looking towards a siege camp instead. Decided, hey, we're not going to do the bush choose. We're just going to claim what is ours. And Leyline Seal lands on it too. No opportunity for follow-up. But one thing they do need to be careful of on the side of Durotan's couch is the siege camp is pushing. They no longer have the advantage that they used to, where they had the keep top. Someone will have to go and defend this on Wildcard. It looks like not even just Wildcard. They're bringing in the entire team. Gotta make this faster. They're okay giving up first move towards the Immortals. And they're actually gonna abuse that over on the side of Boomer Gaming. Bellers just trying to delay. Dismounts I Just Fizz. And they're just DPSing as fast as possible. Dope Monster just throwing in spells onto the Immortal. But unfortunately for them, Giannis is already on it. J shifts, runs right in the middle, gets Celestial Charge. The protection was already gone. They get one more stun. Able to get away. Leap onto the backline. Is getting healed just in time, but is still able to be killed by I Just Fizz. And a wild card. Trying to hit onto Ify does get some damage onto Dope Monster, but they're just going to come back and race for the Immortal. They do get one, and it's a big one. The utility you get from Medivh, the damage you get from Medivh is insane. And just like that, they hit halftime. They do have a Bruiser camp hitting their keep, but it's not something they need to worry about now. Right now, all they care about is pressure. And they are able to get a lot of damage onto Ifeed. Ifeed utilizes damage. Yonmer is very low, and the Light Bomb onto Yonmer. It gets cleansed, but they're not able to keep up the heal. Curse of the Angiers is used. Dope Monster in the backline does get stunned, is able to get healed just last second. I Just Fizz able to hit him with the Z, trying to run in as fast as possible. And Bellers is still alive, is still trying to delay. As we do see Ify trying to run to the bot side. They have a big push. They have big waves on their whole map. But if they're able to get this Immortal, they may be able to win the game with it, provided they can defend here. Because I feed it. He's going for the end of the game. He doesn't care. Bellers and Vegatron, they're willing to die here right now. They no longer need to get the Immortal. They need to come and defend the base. I just fizzed. It's going to get there, but not in time. And I feed able to backdoor the win for BoomerGaming. Absolutely insane finish to this game. I cannot believe how it ended in such a spectacular fashion. You got to give mad props for both of these teams. BoomerGaming will end up winning 2-1. No dominate. But this was one of the closest games I've ever seen in my life. This is a game they're going to be talking about for the rest of the season. And one thing I will always say, nobody ever remembers the games where they absolutely hard slump a game, an enemy team. BoomerGaming especially will always remember this win that they got on map number 3. With that being said, with all my lighting being terrible, let's get back here. This will be it for today. Thank you all for coming by. I'm really excited to continue casting for NGS, trying to catch as many games as I can. For the most part, I'll try to do it live, as lines up with my schedule anyway. And thanks once again for AFK Journey for sponsoring this stream. Be sure to download it right now. And even just installing the game benefits me a lot. So, yeah, huge thank you to everyone there. And the final and the biggest thank you over to the team at NGS. I've been part of this league before, and I knew they gave some tools over to the casters. I did not realize how much they gave. NGS absolutely decks out their casters with the production gear. I have never had such an easy time producing and casting my own games before, and I've done it in many different titles. NGS, you guys did a phenomenal job with this. But anyway, with that being said, good night, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow.